Good morning, Excellencies, friends, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I have to apologize for not being in Grenada. But the governing bodies and their agenda require that I stay in Rome this week. And as well, as you know, the Post-State Measures Agreement has now been endorsed by enough countries for it to enter into force. So there's a lot happening in Rome, and I had to be there for those events. However, through technology, I can speak to you today, and I would like to go through a few elements of how a successful fisheries and aquaculture improvement program could be. And I hope you will be able to follow up on some of these elements in the sessions later on this morning. Generally, through the Code of Conduct for Responsible Fisheries and the ecosystem approach to fisheries and the ecosystem approach to aquaculture, as well as a number of other instruments and tools that FAO and partners have developed, we now know how to improve fisheries management in principle. It, of course, has to be adapted to the various situations. We know that we generally have to reduce the effort. We then have less fish caught, and unfortunately, we have a smaller income. And usually, there are people left on the beach. However, this will change with time. The fishery will come up again, we will get more fish, and we will get a higher income. However, it is not certain that the effort and the number of people needed to catch the fish will reach the same numbers as they were before again. We therefore have to put an effort into helping those that are left on the beach. We need to make sure that they share in the benefits of the improved fishery. And this we can do through a tenure program, secure tenure programs, and benefit sharing of the improved fishery. But people need jobs, and people need to move on and develop the societies that they are in. We can do this in many ways, and one of the ways is to increase the value of the fish that we already catch. There are many possibilities here. We can use the raw materials better. We can market them better. We can reduce the waste, and so on. Internalizing the value chain income to a greater extent in the community is also an important issue in reaching these objectives. Go deeper into the marketing of the products can be one method, so-called category management, and in fact, knowing what it is you want to catch and want to sell before you go out fishing. You don't go out and fish just for what is there, but you go out and fish for the things that you know that you can sell for a good price. But there are more ways for alternative employment. Aquaculture is a particularly good example. There are a lot of common issues between fisheries and aquaculture, particularly in the value chain and in marketing. And many of the skills that the fishermen have can be put to good use in aquaculture. So this is and has been proven to be a very good alternative employment opportunity for fishermen. But there are also other income-generating ecosystem services that can be employed. One of them is, for example, the conservation of mangrove areas, which can be used to ward off ocean encroachment on land and coastal areas, as well as being bulwarks for bad weather instances that are ever more common in a climate change world. But for all of this, we need investment. We need investment for these enterprises. It would be very positive if they could be linked to the success in the fisheries management improvement through the tenure and benefit sharing. But certainly, a secure tenure for aquaculture, a better regulatory framework, both for fisheries and aquaculture, would help in attracting enterprise investment into the communities and the things that the fishermen and the aquaculturists are doing to improve the income of the community as a whole. But we also need socio-economic support, because we know that this is a transition period that we are going through. We know that the total income in the community will go down for a period, and there will be a gap to bridge. There is one thing that I believe is very important, and that are the small and medium-sized enterprises. Very often, the support given by banks and financial institutions is exclusive to large enterprises, large companies, or even to governments. This we need to change so that the support from the banks and the financial sector can trickle down into the communities and into the community enterprises themselves and benefit the communities directly in that way. These elements that I have mentioned are, in my mind, extremely important and should basically be a part of all of our attempts to improve fisheries management and the communities that rely on the fisheries. If we miss one of them out, we risk that the enterprise that we are entering into in improving the fisheries fails as a whole. But if we tackle all of them, put them together in the right way, depending on circumstances, I think we have a better possibility of being successful. I hope this will be useful to you in your discussion over the next few hours. At FAO, we are certainly very hopeful, and we put our money where our mouth is. And there I'm referring to a new TCP that has been decided upon, which is called Towards a Caribbean Blue Revolution. I wish you all the best of luck.